This is my Sonic the Hedgehog tier list, one of my brother and I's favorite series. Very polarizing franchise, but some many phenomenal games, as well as some of the worst games ever developed, ever. Very polarizing franchise, one of the most polarizing franchises in all of gaming. Let's get started. First, the classic Sonic the Hedgehog. A plus for me. I don't care if this game doesn't have spin dash, okay? This game was a revolutionary platformer with an absolutely wicked cool art style. It's the fastest character in gaming that existed at the time. Blast processing was mostly hype, but Sonic sold blast processing. Let's be one thing clear. Without Sonic the Hedgehog, Genesis and Sega would have failed. Without Sonic, the blast processing marketing hype would have been only hype. Just hype. But Sonic made hype real sales figures in the millions of dollars. This was a cool character, one of the coolest character designs in all of digital gaming history, and definitely gave Mario some serious competition. However, I would still say Super Mario World is a superior game to Sonic the Hedgehog 1 due to its refinement with three different games behind it to further Mario's dominance and cement his foundations. This is Sonic's infancy game. Sonic is an infancy franchise at this point and didn't even have a spin dash or any of the sidekicks or interesting characters, and the locations were still absolutely amazing, but they definitely grew stronger in the later games. However, this could also go against the franchise, as you will see in the most extreme and uncompromising way later. Now for a very easy one. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is triple S. This game is an absolute masterpiece. Michael Jackson soundtracks are absolute bangers. I mean, just listen to Emerald Hill Zone. You cannot tell me that soundtrack doesn't bang tits, because it does. That soundtrack gets you all the bitches. That soundtrack is love. That soundtrack is life. Every single aspect of this game just works. The spin dash, legendary. Tails, awesome. Dr. Eggman, oh my bad. Dr. Robotnik is even better than ever before. Chemical Plant Zone, absolutely legendary. And the special stage is the best in the entire franchise. There's nothing else I need to say about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 except that it is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, platformers that has ever been invented of all time. One of the very best. Double the speed of Sonic 1 in every way, replayable endlessly. The game still plays as fresh today as it did yesterday. And this is an easy triple S. You know what else is a very easy triple S? You thought Sonic CD, huh? Nah, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is not only triple S, but the best Sonic game of all time, full stop. Endless content, endless levels. Knuckles' introduction was completely amazing. The characters had so much body language. It was one of the first video games I played where the character's body language was storyteller as the worlds you were exploring. The amazing power-ups added so much dynamics to the game. The Eggman warships were so massive in scale and size, and Supersonic and Hypersonic were just the best. Every aspect of this game was a delight. The multiplayer was absolutely amazing. This game really brought true longevity to the Sonic the Hedgehog name. This game was so perfect, so legendary, that even with years of some of the worst video games ever made, Sonic the Hedgehog has stuck around and is experiencing a true rebirth. After years of darkness, this franchise is finally back to its legendary world-taking over status, as demonstrated later as a real Sonic fan. And Sonic CD, I'm going to give it an A plus. I know a lot of people say it's the very best Sonic game, but in my opinion, Sonic 3 is better than Sonic CD, but not by much. Sonic CD has that legendary Sonic Boom soundtrack. The time travel concept was done really well. There's just a lot to like about this game. I love Metal Sonic as an inclusion villain. You had the phenomenal introduction of not just Metal Sonic, but Amy Rose. You had the Time Attack series where you had to race against the clock to collect items. The special stages were super unique, and the music was absolutely incredible in every single way. And this was also the first and only Sonic game created by Nahu Matsumatsu, the original Sonic the Hedgehog developer. Whereas most of these games were oversaw by Yuji Naka before he faded out of Sega, This was created by Sonic's original creator. Not only had the introduction of Metal Sonic, you also had the introduction of Amy Rose, who is a great Sonic character. This was the only Sonic game not developed by Yuji Naka, but developed by co-creator Naoto Oshima, and it really shows the incredible animated cutscenes, the phenomenal soundtrack, composed in North America by David Young and Spencer Nielsen. This game really had it all. It just wasn't the same quality as Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, in my opinion. But that doesn't make Sonic CD any less of a masterpiece. And you know what? I changed my mind because this game is still triple X. For the animated soundtrack alone, the superb level design, Sonic's co-creator knew just as much as Yuji Naka about how to make a badass and awesome Sonic game. Sonic CD is a triple S must-play game. Yes, it is. And even though the Sega CD and CDX were awful, just 32X horrible, CD Sonic Sega CD awful, and the Saturn. Do we even need to tell you why the Sega Saturn is a failure? Your only game on the console designed to compete with the Sony PlayStation and the juggernaut Nintendo 64 Sega was Sonic 3D Blast, and we'll get to that in a moment. But forget it, the Saturn had no chance. And Knuckles Chaotix also, those were your two Sonic games, some of the worst Sonic games ever. And they're even compared to the modern Sonics we're going to review before Sonic's legendary recovery, those games are actually decent. There's going to be some anger in this video. There's going to be some filth and some ranting and some, pardon my French, moments because of how utterly, abysmally far Sonic fell from the tree. Unlike Halo, Sonic has a happy ending, apparently. But you gotta wade through a lot of bullshit first. Anyway, let's move on to Sonic the Hedgehog on the Game Gear. It's a solid B, and so is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the 2. As for Triple Trouble, which I mentioned before, that is A, and frankly, the second game's two, yeah, they're also both A. The first Game Gear game was a passable replication of the Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis game. The other two, even though they are not on the official pantheon of Sonic 2 and 3 and Genesis, are original and excellent Sonic games in their own right. Excellent 2D platforming, great levels. I have not played much of these games. I have very little memory of them, except that I enjoyed them, and they were great. And they paved the way for the legendary Advanced series, which we'll be getting to in a moment. Sonic Blast and Sonic 3D Blast. Sonic Blast is solid D, and Sonic 3D Blast is an F minus. And you know what? I hate the Sonic 3D Blast so much, I'm putting them both in F. This is the poorest possible way you could have introduced Sonic to the third dimension. The music was awful, the graphics were disgustingly ugly, the controls were broken and unplayable, the slightest turn would make Sonic uncontrollable. Every single thing you could hate about a Sonic game was here. Sonic was slow in 3D Blast. Slow. You're far too slow for Sonic. Just abysmal. Comparing this garbage to Super Mario RPG is laughable. This game ripped off that game's graphics so poorly, it is a shame. This game ruined the Saturn, is terrible in every way, and it is the best of the worst. Like comparing 3D Blast to some of the later abominations on this list, man, you have no idea just how far this franchise is going to fall if you're not a Sonic fan. You have no concept of either how far it fell or how legendary Sonic can be. Sonic is so polarizing. He's either at the top of the world rock star or bottom of the filth heap. And Knuckles Chaotix. This is a game far better than Sonic 3D Blast. It's passable. It's a fun game. It has a unique co-op feature with the rings attached to several characters concept. But there's not much else that's memorable about it. Again, and Sonic Chaos. That's a game that's all another Game Gear game. And it's not that memorable, but it's not terrible. So I'm going to give it a passable grade. Because that's all I can really do. But you know what? It's time to put some meat on our bones. It's time to get to some glory days after a few more small games. Tails Adventures C. Again, passable, interesting music, interesting concept, but Tails is the main character, but who cares about the sidekicks? They get more and more annoying as hell as the game goes on. We don't give a fuck about them. We want to play Sonic. We care about Sonic, not the damn sidekicks who just get more self-righteous and irritating all of the time. And that now, Sonic Tails Sky Patrol. Man, this game dropped. Tails needs a really decent game of his own because this game made you not want to play as Tails, the main character, for the next 10 years. Completely forgettable and just not fun to play. There's not much else to say except Tails Sky Patrol is bare bones fun at best. Mostly a chore and not fun to play as a Sonic fan for me. You know what is fun to play? Little game I like to call Sonic Adventure. This game is S triple quadruple tier. This game is amazing. Yeah, is it good as Super Mario 64? Hell no. Is it much worse? It's like 0.05. This game is so amazing. The soundtrack, Twinkle Hill, Windy Dust Zone, the Chaos Forms, the homing attack, the amazing art style, 6 different playthroughs with wonderful characters, god tier, incomprehensibly amazing music, came out on the most underrated video game console ever made, the Sega Dreamcast. I love the Dreamcast. Man, was the Dreamcast ever underrated. You had Shanoom, you had absolutely incredible Jet Set Radio, you had Soul Calibur, which is one of the best fighting games that ever existed, something I'm going to have to address later on my channel, and you had the peak of Sonic 3D games, ever. Most likely ever. Because following Sonic Adventure comes what I consider, honestly, my favorite Sonic game. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is actually the best Sonic game, but I believe Sonic Adventure 2 is the peak of the entire franchise. This game is perfection. The soundtrack, best of all time. Do I even need to explain why Live and Learn kicks ass? You know it kicks ass. The mere mention of Crush 40 and Live and Learn gives you gamer wood. Every single soundtrack on this game is perfect. No video game had before or since has ever sounded so damn cool. So damn badass. The Sonic stages, perfection. The best controls, the best power-ups, the best moves, the best enemies, the best secrets, the best platforming, the best atmosphere, the best ambiance, best replayability, god tier, legendary, shit your pants, best multiplayer ever in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Hours and hours of fun. Even people who hate Sonic love this game. This game is a god. It will stand the test of every time, beat every challenge, every test. Half. That is how badass this game is. One of the best, if not the greatest platformers you will ever play, ever. And we have yet to have any Sonic Adventure 3. And I was about to give up hope of it ever existing because we're about to enter the dark black hole of abysmally shit Sonic games. Really shit. I mean, really shit. Yeah, I know I missed some of the other ones, but frankly, most of the games following, a lot of them are really aggressively terrible. And I'm going to get real pissed off. Real pissed. Because compared to the god tier Sonic Adventure 2, it's like going from a Rembrandt to being covered in feces. Literally. Rembrandt, feces. They're not the same quality. Now, let's do another game, which I'm going to give a solid 8 plus 2 because I love this game. Sonic Heroes. I love Sonic Heroes. Is it Sonic Adventure 2? It will never be Sonic Adventure 2. But is it a good game? Hell yeah, it's a great game. It's not a good game. It's a great game. At least when you're playing as Team Sonic. Team Sonic is A+. The others are probably B to A-. I'm still keeping the game an A+. It blended everything I love about Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2's legendary soundtrack with very Genesis-inspired Green Hill Zone-esque zones and levels and great music. I love the cooperative feature with power character, speed character, and flying character. You have to use all of them cooperatively. Basically beat the game and beat Dr. Robotnik. Let me tell you this much. If this game was multiplayer with co-op, where one player controlled Sonic and the others controlled Tails and Knuckles, and it was online, this would be beyond S tier. It's not. But if they had managed to make a cooperative experience where one player plays Sonic, one player plays Tails, one player plays Knuckles, local co-op, split screen or not, or better online, this game would have been S tier. And this is unfortunately the end of happiness for the Sonic franchise and quality for a mostly very long time. It gets so bad that I'm just going to review as many good games as I can chronologically. I'm trying to be chronological here. I probably have already failed this, so whatever. Um, I'm just trying to avoid the games I know I'm going to get so angry about. I'm just trying to avoid it. It's going to make me feel angry. Raise my blood pressure a little bit. Okay, so, oh, where are you? This game needs some loving. Yeah, Sonic Advance. Boy, oh boy, is that an A+ game. I love you, Sonic Advance. Perfect art style, perfect 2D gameplay. Sonic Advance 2, by the way, is triple S. And Sonic Advance 3, you know what? Triple S. Absolutely underrated, absolutely perfect art style, amazing gameplay, the tightest control of any 2D Sonic game. Man, you could play them forever and never be bored once. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm just trying to avoid the big ones. Alright, Sonic Labyrinth, basically the only rolling Sonic game during the Game Gear, Saturn, a little bit before Saturn. Actually quite fun. I'll give it a B. It's more fun than you think it is. You can't run in that game, but the rolling mechanic was well utilized, so it's actually an above average game. It's pretty fun. Sonic Rivals also pretty decent, but just passable. It's not really anything special. Sonic Rush, Triple S, yeah. Sonic Rush, absolutely god tier music, amazing character, better level design since somehow already Triple S games. Absolutely amazing. Sonic Rivals 2, that's a B at least. I'm just trying to stay positive. I love Sonic so much, and I'm about to rip the hell out of poor Sonic. I don't want to, but I have to. It's just inevitable. Um, Rivals 2 was definitely better than Rivals 1. More interesting characters, plot lines, moves, story. Now, I'm looking for Sonic Battle. I would put Sonic Battle at A+. I really enjoyed greatly the game. It's no Super Smash, it's nothing like that, but it's a good time. And you know what else I would consider at least B? Sonic R. A racing game without the mechanic, which was just stupid. Sonic doesn't need a car, you can run faster than the car. But Sonic R was a decent racing game. You're not going to ever compare it to God tier Mario Kart, but it's still a lot of fun and was still a very above average racing game. And it appears I am forced to go to the dark side because our next game after Heroes is a pile of festering shit. Shadow the Hedgehog is complete garbage. I hate this game. I beat the whole game, including the final mission. I wish I could get my life back from this terrible pile of vomit-inducing shit. This game is so bad. Don't ever play it. I hate the characters. Every single one of them. They managed to kill Sonic with this game. I'm sorry, but everybody says Sonic 06 killed Sonic. Nah, that's too easy of a target, alright? Too easy of a target. Shadow the Hedgehog did most of the work. Instead of playing as Sonic, you play as Ultra Emo Shadow, trying so hard to be cool and failing miserably, saying, damn, 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 where's that damn Chaos Emerald so I can get out of this garbage game? Oh, and all the coolness that Shadow had in Sonic Adventure 2 was destroyed in this game. Shadow, I only liked in Sonic Adventure 2. Ever since then, he's become an insufferable, try-hard emo bitch. I cannot stand him, and Sonic needs to knock him the fuck out. I can't stand him in most of the games he's in. He has become completely devoid of personality, devoid of character, or anything interesting, because they killed his soul in this game. This game didn't just kill Shadow the Hedgehog, it killed Sonic the Hedgehog too for a number of many dark years. Don't have the capacity to even keep my temper under control, describing how much I hate the characters in this game and the cutscenes. Black Doom is the worst villain I've ever experienced in a video game. One-dimensional piece of paper, totally cliche, uninteresting, boring, and aggravating to fight. The black arms are just a enemy, and they're not fun to fight. None of the characters are fun to interact with. None of the platforming is good. The camera is the worst camera of any video game that's ever been made. It never works, and it always fights you every step of the way. It turns when you don't want it to. It stays still when you don't want it to. It makes platforming impossible. It is the worst camera of all time, and whoever invented this game, and that damned camera needs to be tarred and feathered. It is so garbage. This whole game is garbage. The final boss is garbage. Sonic sounds like an idiot. Every character sounds like an idiot. The guns are awful and weak to maneuver. The guns being cool, no, they're not. Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't need fucking guns or weapons to be cool. His moves are cool enough. He doesn't need this garbage. Neither did Shadow. This game, there are not enough words to describe how shit this game is. X-Play was far too nice in this game. I hate this game with every cellular fiber of my being. Fuck Shadow the Hedgehog forever. Awful. Oh, and we're just getting started here because since I'm in the anger mode, how about Sonic Unleashed? The Sonic stages are A+ to triple S tier, but I hate the Werehog so much that I'm putting it in D tier. Werehog sucks. Instead of going super fast, it's photorealistic, amazing levels, you are stuck playing a completely inferior with abysmal controls, slow, plotting, methodically insanity producing, with the worst sidekick. I hate Chip. I want him neutered and sprayed. So irritating and awful. Bring back Tails, not this purple douchebag. This game was so irritating because so much of this game had the potential to be this. This game is worse than these games because it's so much better than these games. Like the Sonic stages are S tier, like supremely double S. I can't forgive Werehog though. Werehog is a travesty. Sega never ever makes a Sonic Unleashed 2 with another Werehog. I'm cool with the Sonic Unleashed 2 expanding on the amazing Sonic platforming. Much of this game is the genesis for quite possibly the greatest Sonic game in 10 years. So I have to forgive a lot of it, but I can't forgive the Werehog. It sucks. Where Sonic needs to never come back. I hate Where Sonic. Okay, let's continue on with terrible Sonic games. Sonic the Hedgehog Episode 4 is a solid F-. Sonic the Hedgehog Episode 2 is an F-. This is the worst 2D Sonic game ever. It is bare bones. It is unfun to play. It is too easy. The homing attack is broken, and it is not all. They learned their lesson, to Sega's credit, and made god tier 2D Sonic games again, amazing Sonic games again, but this game is not it. This game is awful. Truly awful. Oh my god. Okay, now for the king of shit. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 is Oh, fuck this game more than life itself. Worst of all time. Ever. Ever. Like, the only game worse than this is Gollum. The recent Gollum from Lord of the Rings for amazingly next gen. Fuck this game. The bestiality protagonist Sonic has to save? Go anywhere. Loading screen. Look at PS1 quality graphics. Loading screen. Talk to a person. Loading screen. Jump on a robot. Loading screen. Loading screen. Another loading screen. Game breaking bugs like no game you've ever played. The worst of the worst. Besides Gollum, this is the worst video game ever made, ever. This game makes my blood rage with fury. I hate this game with a cellular rage. Every aspect of this game sucks. Sonic sucks in this game. He is slow when he is running fast. He is still too slow. Too fucking slow. And every move is a chore. The homing attack sucks dick. Every time you do it, you have a 5-second delay while it does the poser flip. And you have to watch that flip over and over and over and over and fucking over until the end of time between another 30 loading screens. I love the soundtrack. God, if only I was rating the soundtrack. Soundtracks here, games fucking F minus beyond F minus. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. Did I forget to tell you? Fuck this game. The worst. Oh man. The bestiality part at the end, like you could hear God getting heartburn watching that scene. It was disgusting. Truly pathetic. Unplayable. It makes Shadow the Hedgehog's camera look competent. And the characters just get more and more irritating and shit as it goes on. The fetch quests go on forever. The graphics are PS1 quality at PS2 basic at best. Every single stage you crash into something, you can't maintain speed ever. Careening around like a fucking busted yo-yo. Completely amateurish to level design. The rating system is horse shit on a turd sandwich. You will never be ranked high enough, and you won't care because you want to gouge out your eyes and cut off your privates before you play this shit. I hate this game with every fiber of my being. Destroy it whenever you see it. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. It is so horrendous, so fucking sickening, so poorly programmed, such a complete slap in the face to any real Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I mean, this was the period where Mario was in Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Bros. Melee, quality 10 out of 10, game after game. But Mario won against the Sonic franchise long ago, even if Sonic didn't fall into abysmally shit games. This game is the pinnacle of Sonic shit stain. This game can go fuck itself, and whoever made this game, I hope there's a special place in hell reserved for you because that's how bad this game is. It really is. Besides Gollum, the latest shit Gollum, that's a video game I have to find a video to tear a new asshole. The worst of all time. This is still the second worst video game I've ever played in my life, and I hate this game every single fucking miserable moment of it. Trash. Filth. It's too good. Too good for this fucking game. That's all you need to know. Fuck Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Fuck Sonic the Hedgehog 2006! Oh. Why is there another Unleashed? I'm going to give it the same rating. If it's like for a different platform, it's still the same problems. Sonic Rush Advance. Enjoyable. Sonic Rush is great. I like Sonic Rush Advance. It's expanded on what already works. So I'm going to give it an A. Not that A, but still an A. It's really good. And moving on. Now we're going to get a very obvious one out of the way. Sonic the Hedgehog's inclusion in every single Super Smash Bros. Game is triple S tier. Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Ultimate are examples. Definitely an S tier, triple S experience with Sonic in those games. It only made it better. That's easy enough. Let's move on to some other Sonic games. Sonic Lost World, I would say, was above average. Definitely enjoyable, good stages, interesting mechanics. But again, it wasn't really special, but it doesn't really induce anything great or rage-worthy within me. That'll be coming up soon enough. We have some... Oh man, these are some polarizing new choices. And this was another Dreamcast Sonic game. I can't really tell which game this was from the box art, but it appears to have a Dreamcast logo. And this is still during the pre-Sonic 2006 rage. So I would say it's an A+ experience. It's a DLC for, I'd say, the Advance or the Dreamcast games. I've seen that box art before, I just can't read the title. So these other ones I'm more familiar with. I'm not sure why there's two of several of these games on this version of the tier list. But again, this is B. Now, we're getting to some good stuff here. And some garbage. Okay, let's get the good stuff going before some bad and good. Our Sonic Steel Rings is A. It had a very unique plot with Arabian Nights. It was very interesting. Very unique mechanics with time control. But unlike Chaos Control with Shadow, this was done right. And it was a very interesting dynamic with great music and a very unique plot line. Also unique was Sonic and the Black Knight. I thought that I'd hate this game because it's Sonic with a sword. It sounds ridiculous, but it's a quality game. It's a ton of fun. Sonic's sword mechanics were implemented far better than Shadow's stupid gun mechanics. and it has incredibly memorable and legendary soundtrack, excellent platforming, excellent combat, and is generally an above average experience. And Sonic Colors is S tier. This game, for both the DS and the console, is S tier. The best art style of any Sonic game I've ever played. Super speedy Sonic is back in the fold. You have amazing characters, legendary voice acting, awesome story. Oh, this game should have been the return to form. This was Sonic coming out of the filth into the stepping into the spirit of the sun for the first time in like 7 awful years. A glimpse of the legend I once knew, my brother once knew. Alas, it was not to be, because following we have a dog shit experience comparable to even the worst. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, fucking way worse than Shadow. And oh man, also worse than Shadow. Fuck both of these games. Unspeakably awful character redesigns in Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Unspeakable story. The worst Unreal Engine game ever developed. I hate the redesigns so much. They were the stupidest designs. Knuckles looks like a jockstrap douchebag. Sonic wearing a stupid ascot scarf. It doesn't work. The game doesn't work the way it's supposed to. From beginning to end, this game sucked ass. The concept reboot almost always makes me blood boil my piss. Reboots are when we say we don't care enough about the franchise to make it work. We're just going to scrap it. And instead of truly doing something innovative and new, we're just going to rip and tear your favorite franchise apart and put it back together in the way we think will be easier for us. I hate most reboots. Most of them are garbage. Give me a sequel or a new franchise any day over a piss poor reboot. And that is what Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is and will forever be. A piss poor reboot that is not worth your money or your time. The hype around Forces. This was supposed to be the return to form. This was supposed to be the next great Sonic game since Sonic Heroes or Sonic Adventure 2. And some people say Unleash, although my opinion on Unleash I have made very clear is D. But I'd rather play Unleash any day over Forces, which is bland, uninspired, terrible platforming, terrible controls, and it just doesn't work in any way. It's just boring and uninteresting to play. All the characters have these awkward controls. Story goes nowhere. Just can't stand anything about this game. It's a piece of shit. The plot gets worse as it goes on. Makes my soul hurt thinking about it. The migraines through this game are very real. Sonic Forces. Force yourself to play it. That's why it's called Forces. You have to force yourself to endure this travesty. You have to. It's abysmal, bare-bones Sonic. Terrible story, awful controls. The character creator is a great idea, but executed with the skill of a first-year intern. Awful levels ripped off from better Sonic games that are awfully designed and programmed. You want a game that does rebooting correct? You want a game that's absolutely amazing, that does reboot the way you're supposed to do it? Sonic Generations, both of them are S tier. What an amazing game. Sonic done perfectly revitalized. Modern Sonic has never been better. Amazing remakes of classic stages. The plot isn't much. You're not going to care about the plot in this game. Eggman splits Sonic into two versions of himself. You got to find him and hunt him down in both timelines. That's all it needs. It doesn't need much of a plot. The gameplay and art style and characters are all a joy to behold and play. What a legendary, legendary game. But is it return to form? Nah. Compared to, oh, I don't know, Sonic Mania. What an amazing game. What an incredible, legendary game. And Sonic Frontiers, even better. Sonic the Hedgehog is officially back with these two 10 out of 10 gaming experiences. You have God tier 2D stages, the best soundtrack yet, perfect cooperative play, online multiplayer, endless replayability, perfect controls, sublime soundtracks, sublime enemies and AI intelligence, perfect open worlds, endless weapons and customization and replayability, amazing DLC. These games, Frontiers and Mania, have officially revitalized Sonic as a legend of a video game player, as he always should be. Sonic Superstars is also looking absolutely god tier as well. Sonic, thank God, after a famine of filthy past returning to form. Unlike the Halo franchise, Sonic is finally coming back on top. It has been a very good few years for Sonic after eating nothing but shit. Sonic has known a lot of shit in his life, but I'm a huge Sonic fan, so there's a lot of Triple S games on here. Games that everybody should play. And that definitely includes Sonic Mania, best 2D Sonic game by far. And Sonic Frontiers has all the building blocks to build a legendary Sonic Adventure 3 game. It is a 10 out of 10 game, absolutely amazing art style, great gameplay, so many secrets. It is incredible. The bosses are some of the biggest, most intimidating bosses I've ever played. They take up the entire open world, and you're basically running around hundreds of thousands of miles being chased by these huge mythical creatures, and you have all these interesting, unique attacks to stop them. The combos are endless, and this is the best Sonic has ever controlled or felt ever. I love the new voice actor. There's not much about Frontiers that didn't make me smile ear to ear. It is just a wonderful, great time. And that is my Sonic the Hedgehog tier list. I know I got heated up, but I'm heated about this franchise. Stay tuned, more is on the way.